Hey Pascal, busy week for you guys. Just overall thoughts about this first stretch after finally getting back on the ice.
Um, we feel we're getting better every game. When you look at the first game and how we played tonight, there's a difference. The guys are paying attention to the small details we're talking about, and they work hard. It's a good group. They buy in, they work hard, they gelled pretty quick, and we saw it from day one at training camp. It wasn't an easy camp. It was everything is different this year. But we had 12 guys to start with, and we didn't make it easy on them. But they worked hard, and they push for each other. They're trying to execute what we're trying to do, and they know there's some room there to be creative and to create some offense. And we let them be that creative offensively when we can, but there's some rules, and the rules that we have in place, they're trying to execute it. It's not always there, but we know they're trying. So this week I felt we've been improving every game, and tonight I thought it was our best game of all four.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Nothing's been easy, right, with COVID. I mean, for anybody, and particularly to set up this league. And I'm just wondering, you're 4 games in, you have an idea of how you want to be as a team. At what point do you feel like you're going to see that identity? And do you have to make sure that you understand that it might take a little bit of time given everything that you've had to face this year?
Yeah, well, I think a team identity, it takes time. You're right there. I agree. It takes some time to create that kind of identity, and so when you show up at a game, the other team is thinking, okay, those guys are good on the forecheck, or they're really good at defending, or they can create a lot of offense. We have to be careful, or their special teams are really good. It takes some time. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be our team identity. Um, because we don't know enough, and we don't know enough about the other teams in the league. But what I know is that's a team that is not willing to give up every night. And sometimes, like the second game, I felt so after playing the two first games, after 6 periods, I thought we played good for 4 periods, but we didn't have enough juice in the tank to play the other 2 periods, the second and the third period of the second game. So we know that might be an issue, and you're playing against guys that have 4 or 5 more years of training in their bodies. That could have an impact. But as far as team identity, what I'm seeing is a bunch of guys that are working extremely hard, and that's a good start. That's a good foundation.
Last one for me. A lot of excitement on this team. Kind of likens it to a few years back when you had some guys that were, either really high draft picks or on the cusp of jumping to that league. I look at guys like Billy, obviously, Dylan Sandberg, Cole Perfetti's had a nice little week for himself. And just when you look at these new guys and how steep of a learning curve this is going to be, what are your takeaways from what you've seen from those younger guys this first week?
Well, we've put them in all situations. Even at the end of the game, there, 5-on-6. We have Cole Perfetti on the ice. Same thing when we had 6-on-5. He was on the ice. We're gonna give those young players all kinds of opportunities, um, and we'll learn from that. And what I see so far is their reads are really good, and that's something it's hard to teach. You can help hockey players to improve their hockey sense, and we could talk about hockey sense for all day and not even agree on what it means to you and what it means to me. But
Yeah.
their reads are so good for such young players. That's a real good and interesting fact about those guys is they might be younger, but Dylan Sandberg and Ville Heinola and Cole Perfetti, just to name those three, their reads are really good. And so when you have that, if you attach to that the work ethic that needs to be in place in order to be a successful NHL player, you give them a few years to grow into their bodies and to learn the pro game. Those guys can turn into very good NHL players down the road. It's still too early, and we're not going to get too excited. But there's one thing in that it's really hard to coach. It's hockey sense and the reads, intelligence on the ice, and those three are quite intelligent on the ice so far. And we've seen it after 3 games, only 4 games. They make good plays, and there's I don't see any fear in their game. Sometimes the first few weeks of playing pro, or sometimes the first year, there's a little bit of fear in the game. They don't have that fear. They're willing to make plays. So there's a character side to it. It's very interesting to work with young, smart players like those three.
Let's go.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Jacob Stoller. Go ahead, Jacob.
Hey, Pascal. I just wanted to know, after this first series, what your overall thoughts are on the Heinola and Sandberg pairing and those two's performance thus far.
I liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. We played them against the top 2 lines, special teams. We didn't have many power plays, but they've been on the ice for important tasks, and they've been doing a good job. And you can feel they're just getting more comfortable playing together. Dylan Sandberg is playing on the right side. He's a left shooter, so that's an adjustment for him. But he was more than willing to be there. He actually wanted to try it. He said he did a little bit in the past. So, but to do it at this level, 2 young guys playing together, and they're excited to play together. I think just like our team, I'd say, Jacob, it's they're just getting better every game.
Further to that, someone that's really caught my eye early on is Bobby Lynch. He's had a very strong start statistically and whatnot. And for a guy like him, do you think it's a case of him, capitalizing on the opportunity here, or have you seen a huge transformation from when he was here last time? I know it was brief, but if you notice anything in that regard.
Yeah, last year he was light. That would be the best way to describe it. We could see his skating. We could see that he could read plays offensively and create some chances for himself. But he was light on the ice. He was easy to get the puck away from. He was easy to play one-on-one just because of his size. He's a tall guy, but he was not heavy on his skates. And I think he did an amazing job at training and getting his core and lower body stronger. He's just not light anymore. He's strong on his feet, and he's just imagine in 2 or 3 years down the road, if he does it the right way, how strong that guy can be on the ice. His skating is really good, but what he's doing really well here is not related to his physical abilities. It's related to his mindset. He's taken advantage of an opportunity, and it's been given to a lot of players in the past, and some guys take advantage of them and some guys don't. And but it takes some self-confidence and it takes a good understanding of the opportunity that it's given to you, and he's taking advantage of it, and he's doing a good job. And this is a good line for us, and to play with Gray Ovak and Todd, and producing offensively, but also being reliable defensively. Good for him. He's becoming a real good player for us really quick.
The expression goes, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And in the case of Heinola and Sandberg looks pretty good on the right, but is there a push for you to maybe put Heinola there either next series or at some point, even if Dylan's doing well, just to give them both that versatility?
Yeah, Dylan wants to be there right now, so we're going to keep it that way, I think, for a little while. But we played 6D tonight. At nights, sometimes we play 7D, depending on the lineup. So when we do play 7D, he'll have his shifts on the left side as well. But right now, the goal, I'd say to you, is we want to build confidence in this game on the right side. And once that's done, and he masters that position to the best he can be in that position, we might be thinking about Ville on the right side as well. But that's I'm telling you this today, and in a week everything might change. But right now we like what we're seeing, and we're gonna take our time. And Ville is a bit younger too, right? He's not as physically as strong as Dylan is. So that that's gonna take some time as well. But for now, we like what we're seeing, and we'd like to develop Sandberg as a right defenseman, even though he's a left shooter.
Pascal, could you give us an injury update on Marco Dano and Luke Green?
Yes, they're still not ready to go. Green is probably day to day. I didn't speak to the trainers tonight, and Dano is probably week to week at this point.
And Dano is, I didn't know I asked this before, but Dano is upper body and Green is lower body. You characterize it as?
Correct.
All right, thanks.
We'll finish off with Austin Syragusa. Go ahead, Austin.
So, Coach, what was the biggest adjustment you guys made in the, I guess, last two games to get the wins compared to the first two games you played against Toronto? They're a tough team. They're always a pretty heavy team, but what adjustments were made in these last two games to get the wins?
Mainly, it was the puck pressure that we wanted to do a better job at. We know Toronto has a lot of skills, especially their forwards, but their D can move. At the blue line, you've seen them. They can move and try to beat you one-on-one. So we wanted more pressure on their D, and that's what we wanted to do. The last two games, even more so. There was an adjustment, but we really focused on us. Quite honestly, we just want our game to get better and have a real good understanding. There's more adjustments that we wanted to do, but we didn't do it, and the reason was we want to make sure we understand exactly what the foundation of this team is before we start making too many detailed adjustments. But the big one was probably pressure on their defensemen.
And then just one more for me. Just a thought on Jeff Malot's game. He was a guy that was, of course, signed in the offseason, had to finish quarantine before he could officially join training camp, and then scoring in one of his first few AHL games. Just a thought on his play as of late.
Yeah, he's a big man that can skate. I liked his first game, but I liked his second game much better. I thought him and that line in the third period was gave us a chance to win the game. They were on the puck. They were pressuring the puck. They were coming back to D zone, using the proper routes, and they were creating offense. And most importantly, they were creating momentum for our team. And Jeff was a big part of this. He's a big man that can skate. So we'll see what's gonna happen next. But for now, we're excited to have him on our team.